This is my 1932 Conn New Wonder 2 tenor saxophone, and in this video I'm going to show you some of the modifications I've done to this saxophone to make it more comfortable to play. These Conns from the factory, the ergonomics are not nearly as comfortable as a modern horn and even some vintage horns that were made after the saxophone. However, with a few fairly simple modifications, you can make these New Wonders feel really nice under the fingers. So let's start at the top and work my way down, I guess. The first thing I did was just build some simple palm key risers, and I built these out of cork and glued them with contact cement, and then my wife actually put some fingernail polish, or not polish, but fingernail enamel type stuff on them, and then once I got them done, you can see how it's got that two colors there. I realized that when I would go to hit low B flat, I would knock that high D on occasion, so I had to just sand that down. Then I just put some clear epoxy on it, which usually like a clear epoxy works really well, but if she's got her fingernail stuff out, or if I ask nicely, she'll do that for me, which looks kind of cool. The second thing is these B flat bis keys. And you can see, if you look right there, you can see where that bis key used to be. And just not in a place you can easily reach unless you overlap your fingers. And you see a lot of players that will hold these Conns with their first finger overlapping that pearl quite a bit so they can reach that bis key. What's cool about these lacquered horns, especially if they're unlacquered like this, is you can grind that off, and I put a new pearl holder and just used the same original pearl and put it in a more ergonomically correct spot. So the upper stack and the palm keys feel really nice. The second thing, or third thing, wherever we're at now, is I've dropped the neck strap ring down quite a bit. You can maybe sort of see where it used to be right there, and then I dropped it, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches or so, which just makes the saxophone balance quite a bit nicer. I know before I did this, I would always tend to be wanting to lean over like that because the saxophone would just kind of want to not be quite as upright. And that makes a huge difference on your neck and just holding the saxophone, just the balance of the saxophone. I also built up these side keys, which I think is important because you tend to almost wrap your hand around the saxophone too far, and maybe that's okay for a lot of people, but I was kind of struggling with that, and so I built the side keys up, and that's the clear epoxy that I used, and that just there's three layers of 1/16 key cork, and then sort of filed them down and sanded them down to make them look kind of nice, and then put the clear epoxy, which I think looks kind of cool. And those have been on there for several years now and don't really show any type of wear where like the epoxy's wearing down, so I think that's a really good way to build those up. And then I also raised the thumb hook. It was, and let's see if you can see, I raised it up pretty much as high as you could. That's probably only went up maybe 3/4 inch, which is quite a bit of difference because my thumb would be sort of an angle like that, and it was uncomfortable. Still wish it was a little higher, but I just don't know an easy way to do that without, because it's interfering with the side F sharp key, and so I just don't think there's really a good way to do that. If you've ever done any modifications like that where you've able to get that thumb rest higher, I'd have to be something really strange to go over that F sharp key. I mean, and you still would have to have a way to take that off so you could do work on the key. So I don't know. I think that's probably just where it's going to be. That's pretty much it. There's a few things I'll do is like I'll bend that side F sharp key, the touch piece up just a little bit and just put a thicker cork. Not extreme, but that way it's just easier to reach. Sometimes they just set kind of low. I also like to, I haven't done it on this one, but if I could find a flat pearl or something oversized, there's Will Peak makes a tilting thumb rest, which we've talked about. He's talked about making one for this saxophone, which probably is a good option because I've done that on other Conns where you put more of a flat thumb button, and it's quite comfortable. With this curved, contoured type octave key lever, it's going to have to be something kind of specific. And let's see, yeah, besides that, it's just sort of a straightforward overhaul. This saxophone has my Pisoni pads that I like to use with a gold-plated resonator. I kind of put those in all Conns. They just respond well, and it's probably just the pad filling up in general, but that's just kind of what I end up putting in Conns, and they always play really well. So yeah, that's my Conn New Wonder 2 transitional tenor saxophone. These are gotta be some of the biggest sounding saxophones ever made. I haven't quite found anything that I thought sounded good or had as big a sound as this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you tried one of these things and what you think, how it compares to your sax. They're a large bore saxophone, and so when you hold these things, especially with the inline keys, where a modern saxophone, this lower stack, they'll tilt a little bit, and this saxophone, it just feels like you have to have monster hands to play it, and it just feels big under the fingers. However, it's something that's I've easily adapted to, and it's worth it for the sound. Also, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. My name's Scott Reed. I'm a woodwind repair technician. I play music professionally. I buy, sell, trade, and collect musical instruments. And now I have a YouTube channel.